All right. Welcome back
Welcome.
to High Heels Happy Hour.
Where I am Ingrid.
And I'm Christina. And we talk about everything lifestyle, self-improvement. Anything that makes life a little more fun and a little easier to live.
Nothing's off limits.
Nothing's off limits. All right. How was your week? I think that heart is really cute, by the way.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Yeah. How was your week?
It was good. I actually wanted to share. I opened up a Roth.
Ooh, after we talked to Kate Campione. Yes, good. So she's taking action on her own podcast. That's good.
Yes.
Leading by example.
I figured out that we must have 3 to 6 months of savings.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to a few of my friends, and neither of the 5 I spoke to have that for emergency funds.
Yeah.
I thought that was very surprising. At first, I was like, do you not listen to my podcast?
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, wait, so you have to get on it. Because financially, a lot of people, I think it was online the other day, we're actually the most expensive state to live in right now.
Because of the insurances?
Because of everything. Everything is super high.
Florida is the most expensive state to live in?
As of right now.
I thought California would definitely be more expensive.
I think we beat California.
Not living, though. Our house prices are not as expensive. But I know insurances, all the insurances make it super expensive.
Stay tuned. I'm going to look it up because I saw the most expensive to live in was Florida as of probably last week. So it might take a lot of things to account.
But, yeah, because our state tax is not that high. So that's why a lot of people have moved here.
Maybe with the exception of California. But anyhow, how was your week?
Stay tuned.
Yes.
It was good. Yep, summer's here, and definitely planning for things to going away for the summer. Going to Europe.
Yeah, you're going away for a little while.
For a month. Yeah. So it takes some planning. Of course, we've done it so many years, so it's not like it's new, but it kind of every year it's like, yeah, it's a long time till we go. And I was like, oh, shoot. Okay. But yeah, we got it kind of down patted now with what to do and what to pack and what
That's exciting.
Yeah. How to get the house ready. Oh, I was looking for my lip gloss. It was in my lap. There you go. Now I put on lip gloss. Now you all get to see it on YouTube. Yes, that's what happens. Sometimes things are just falling in your lap. Do we have a hack?
Yes. So Marcelo loves to cook. And he just sporadically says, I'm going to make this.
Okay.
And we didn't have a rolling pin. Because I'm not a big baker. And or dessert person, I don't have a rolling pin. So we used a wine bottle.
All right.
And surprisingly, I had one.
You have one. I have both. I have both rolling pins and wine bottles. No, I only have one rolling pin. I have several wine bottles. But yeah. Okay, well, that's good.
Yes. So if you don't have a rolling pin, wine bottle will do.
There you go.
And I don't think it matters if it's empty or not, but
you get a little more weight to it. Depends on how flat you want it, I guess. Okay, so mine is a supplement hack because, shocker, I like health and fitness. So, I can't read. Okay, so my hack is creatine. And this is actually one of the most, outside of caffeine, it's one of the most researched supplements out there. And it is one of the, in all studies, shown to be super safe. So creatine traditionally also was kind of like a bro science, what the bros were using in the gym. But it has been proven that for us women, especially as we age, it is one of the best supplements we can ever take. And it's cheap. It's not like it costs a lot of money. It's cheap to make. So creatine monohydrate, I think this is what I use. Mine is from Cynthia Thurlow's brand, but you can buy it on Amazon. You can find creatine anywhere. And what it does, it helps the muscles to not disintegrate. You do need to use the muscles too in order for the creatine to kind of kick in. So you can't just drink a lot and poop. You only need like 3 to 5 grams a day. So it's a very small dose. Okay. And most of them are completely flavorless. So I put it in my water. I actually put it with electrolytes because it absorbs even better with electrolytes. But the most interesting thing with creatine is that it's also proven a lot of cognitive benefits.
Memory.
Yes, all of brain functions, memory. So I'm not going to go through all of the research because there's a lot. But look it up, creatine. It is super important for. And it's not just bro science, it's old women science too. Yeah. So
I was just thinking something really funny. I don't know if the men really use it because their memory is really off.
Well, it's selective memory.
Okay, that's what it is. Yeah. Okay.
No, but it's I'm trying to get my mom to take it, but she's not great on supplements, so we'll see.
I put it in my shake.
I do too. Yeah, you can put it in shake, but because it's flavorless, you can really put it in the water. So I got my son to start taking it. I hope Bella will soon too. My husband does every now and then take it, but it really helps. It does. You could feel a little bloating if you take too much because the muscles absorb water, which is great because you want them to hydrate. But it can feel like you're retaining a little more water.
Which is usually what they look for, that pump.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But sometimes if you're super worried about the scale, you might absorb a few ounces more water. So it might, but it's all good stuff. It's not fat. It's water.
Okay. Sounds good.
And you might gain a little because your muscles might grow. So
which is not a bad thing.
Which is a great thing. And as we've said before, and I don't know how many times it's not about the weight. It is about the percentage of fat versus muscle. Yes. All right. My week. Did I talk about my week? Yes, I did. Sorry. Forgot. Do you want me to talk about your week again? Yes, I need some more creatine. I haven't taken my creatine today. I'm taking it in my second water bottle. So, all right. What are we going to talk about today, Ingrid?
So, we're going to talk about things we wish we would have known to do as we are getting up in age.
In our reset series.
Yes.
Yep. And mid-life, mid-year.
Yeah, mid-life, mid-year.
Reset series.
Mindset.
Yes. Reset mindset. Yes. Okay. Things we should have done.
Or we wish we would have known and we should have done.
Yeah. Well, it's never too late, right? And if too late. Yeah. So if we haven't done it, get on it. It's a good checklist for things. And a lot of things we do like to kind of just push ahead because we don't want to think about it or deal with it. And we think we have all the time in the world. Just like going to Europe for a month, you think you have all the time in the world. And then, whoops. It's right there.
Avoidance. Sometimes we just avoid things because we're just not ready to deal with it.
Yeah. But some of these things on this list will be things that you probably avoid, but needs to happen. And you think, oh, I'll deal with that later. Okay.
And we're here to tell you not to deal with it later.
Do it now. Do it now.
Okay. So by focusing in these areas, women can navigate their 40s, 50s, and 60s.
And if you're in your 30s, well, then listen up.
Because you're getting there.
Get ready. Yep.
And I think too, it'll just prepare women. You know, having the awareness of what can happen, what is supposed to happen, what shouldn't happen. It just allows us to make those educated decisions on what we want to do.
Yeah.
Because if we don't do anything, talked
about last week with exercise and health with Coach Shea. Yes.
Yeah. So this is a little, obviously you just said it, a piggyback on last week's episode
Mm-hmm.
is, if you haven't listened, go now.
That's right.
Diet and exercise is
Mm-hmm.
so huge.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've been in a series of these diets that coming in, fad diets, things that you, because people, I think people, not I think, I'm going to say I know, people do not understand that when they get on that scale and it tips over whatever, 250, 300 pounds, there's a big misconception, or there's a whole world of, oh my gosh, when did this happen?
Yeah.
And they don't realize that,
Shocker.
well, it's actually a mental health aspect.
Mm-hmm.
They don't realize how long it's taken them to get there.
Yeah.
And then when they realize what it's going to take for them to go back or get healthy,
Mm-hmm.
they want a quick fix.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah, it took years to get there, but then, yeah, you want to fix it tomorrow. Yeah.
And they do all, and this is where all these fad
Mhm.
things come in,
Yeah.
surgeries,
Yeah.
people make all this influx of money.
Ozempic.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just be aware of that.
Yeah.
It didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
To get there, and it's not going to be overnight to get back.
No. And I will say, and we've talked about this before too, and we'll talk more in other episodes, but the relationship with the scale. So, yes, the scale is just a number. And once you know your body composition, like muscle mass and fat and all that, then the number can be more interesting, but just a number in itself is not. But I will say, after I started weighing myself every day after starting to use a health coach, because you need to track in order to know what's happening. And it really has made my relationship with the scale, it's not something I dread anymore. It's just a number. And you also see that, yes, you fluctuate every day, a couple of pounds here and there, depending on water retention and salt, all that. But it really is when you're not getting on the scale and you only go like once a month, or sorry, once a year sometimes, when you go your physical,
like,
that's when it gets like,
how that happened?
how the hell did that happen? And then it becomes this horrible thing that you do, which is shameful, and then your whole day, or even if you only do it once every other couple of months, things happen gradually. And also you can have those influxes of pounds here and there. But if you check it on an ongoing basis, you're not going to be surprised.
Yeah.
And that's also when you really can dial in and say, oh, okay, so I've been steadily gaining over the last week. So maybe I'm doing something. I should dial down on something I'm doing. It's so easy to change if you do it right away.
Yes. And with that is a lot of, I've been seeing this a lot lately, is the posting of, let's say, what people call plus size. And it's not that something is not beautiful or not pretty, or it's the fact of health-wise.
That's right.
It's
I totally
not,
agree.
Everyone's like, oh my gosh, like everybody should be loved. Of course. But your body,
yes,
cholesterol,
yes,
blood pressure,
exactly,
diabetes, all that.
Yep.
You have to be aware of that. It doesn't have to. You don't have to be skinny, because even if you're skinny,
you could be skinny fat. You could be super unhealthy as a skinny person.
Just be aware of that when you're out looking for stuff and kind of figuring out what works for your body.
Healthy is beautiful,
yes,
regardless of the size. But you need to know your numbers. Yeah, you need to know.
So
what's going on.
Again, we did a really awesome episode on that, so please be sure to check it out. Next one, this one I got not only online, but a post on Facebook, is sunscreen. So many people, especially in Florida, they love the sun. It feels good. Vitamin D, you don't want to use it because you want to absorb. However, your whole body, if it's exposed, should be covered, because skin cancer does not discriminate whether it's your face or your body.
Yeah. I will say, though, the trick to do is when you walk, and this is I've gotten from dermatologists and doctors, and if you take a shorter walk in the morning, say you have a dog, which I do, the first walk I do in the day, which is usually around 7 or 7:30, I go without sunscreen. So those 10 minutes or 20, whatever it takes, I let my body absorb vitamin D. But then if after that, when I go out, I wear sunscreen all over.
Yes. So that was my however point. Because in the morning, I also go without sunscreen as long as it's early.
Yeah. And my vitamin D levels are excellent.
And mine are extremely low.
Okay. So you need supplements.
So, yeah. Anyways, that's I'm working on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Unfortunately, though, with sunscreen, usually the ages we're talking here, 40s, 50s, and 60s, that's when you noticed all the damage that happened.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this, make sure, because it's sun exposure is actually cumulative.
Yeah.
So
if you're in your 20s, start now. Hopefully you're better informed than we were in our 20s. When
I think
we used to put oil on so we would bake better.
Do you know this? You all know the story? Like when I was in Iraq, I used to use baby oil.
Yeah.
In between, it was so hot. It was like 120.
Yeah.
And
oh gosh, 120.
No. We would go up in a tan because we had so much downtime, but we had like 4 minutes downtime. Really interesting story. I think it's funny now, but we used to have the mortars come in, so the bombs would come in to hit us, and they would land far enough so we would get up and we'd say, "Oh, they're still not aiming that close. We're fine," and we would lay back down.
Oh gosh.
And we would hear the skin sizzle.
Oh, what?
So we would only be there for probably 5 minutes.
Oh gosh.
And I think it took me about 10 years to get that tan line. Just even with my skin. It was so bad. I don't recommend it, but that was one of my fun stories in country.
Yeah.
We would just look at the bombs come in and how far the cloud was is how much time we had left to get our gear on. So, next one.
Yes.
Is bone density.
Yes. So important.
As we get older, we are at higher risk, especially women, for osteoporosis.
Yes.
So we have to ensure adequate calcium.
And remember my hack from last week?
Vitamin D.
Yeah, but my hack, the weighted vest.
Yes.
Helps with osteoporosis. Yes, because you're putting weight onto your structure, your bones.
Okay. So, and there was a link for that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So there we go. Next one. And this one, a lot of people tend to avoid because it's like a running joke. It's pelvic health, especially if you have children. So if you've had children, carry them, your hip, pelvic muscles, pelvic floor dysfunction, and incontinence.
Yeah.
So a good thing for this is Kegel exercises. Learn to empty your bladder and be very conscious of that. Sometimes I've caught myself.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm done. And
don't be too much in a hurry. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
And schedule bathroom trips. So if you are starting to feel that, start doing that and talk about it. Because usually it's when you cough or sneeze and it's like, oh, I just peed my pants. That doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
So the key is really being on top of that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it can really cause really.
And that's quite. You got to plan your life around that. If that happens a lot, you can only wear certain pants or certain dresses.
Or be a certain amount from
also
the bathroom.
You know that it's a big problem because the amount of TINA, whatever it's called, the advertising on TV for incontinence or underwear. So anything that's it's right now there's a lot of Ozempic, there's a lot of eczema apparently out there. There's a lot of eczema advertising and incontinence underwear.
Because people avoid it and they're like, oh, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
Or
then
it's supposed to happen.
You can't really reverse it if it goes too far, I think.
Correct. There is things you can do to reverse it, but some of the things you do are entitled surgery.
Yeah.
And as we get older, if we don't take care of ourselves, we may not even be a candidate for surgery.
Yeah. So that's important to think about. So Kegel exercises, which did we do that when we were pregnant? Wasn't that one of the things one should do?
I was told to do that.
Yes, I was told to do that too. Squeeze. And And then empty bladder and go often.
Yes.
Which I do. I think I haven't. Well, I do drink a lot of water, but I have this thing. Every time I come home, I need to go to the bathroom right away. It's like my body tells me, "Oh, you're home. You need to go to the bathroom." Doesn't matter if I went right before. It's like run first thing to the bathroom.
I am not like that. Victor is.
Oh,
like without just.
Yeah, it's like programming.
Yeah.
Oh. Yep.
Okay, this one we've talked quite a bit about is mental health. As we get older, things start shifting. So if you're someone that has dealt with mental health, you're a little bit more aware of kind of, okay, this is uncomfortable. I'm a little bit more moody. If you haven't dealt with it, just pay attention to the people you live with. If they say, hey, that was a little moody, or why are you so mean? It's probably a good indication that your mental health is a little
mental, and with also with the loss of hormones and all that.
Yes,
a lot of it comes with it. Yeah.
So talking about that,
and also I do think that going through the changes for a lot of people, and the things that all of the mentioned above, can make you a little depressed. Like it's like going downhill. That can in itself.
That's what it's usually related as.
Well, it doesn't have to be, but it can. And that's what we're trying to prevent with this reset series, right? We're not going to go downhill. We're going to get just uphill, go better.
Steady uphill.
But I think it could definitely affect our mental health.
I mean, also just awareness, just being prepared. And you've talked about this before. So they called it sleep hygiene. Yeah. And I mean,
sleep is so important.
Very important. I've gotten better. And self-care and self-love.
Yeah.
Two things that, as we get older, unless you had children a lot later in life, or you are in the predicament that you're a little older and now taking care of your grandkids for whatever reason. I've seen that a lot more lately. You tend to forget about yourself.
Yeah.
And it is
it's
really
that sandwiched generation where we take care of our parents and our children, and sometimes our children's children. And then definitely can we just go back and touch on the sleep hygiene too?
Of course.
So what we mean with that, like the room you're in, the temperature that you're sleeping in, and making sure you don't have a snoring person next to you, because that makes it a lot harder. Yeah, so the environment we sleep in to make it conducive to sleep.
I've been so tired at times. I sit and I fall asleep.
No, I know. I've known Ingrid has fallen asleep in the middle of sentences too. Yes. And I will say, after starting with some hormone replacement, I'm sleeping like a queen. Progesterone is your sleeping friend, I will say. So good.
Oh, I'm not there yet. Not yet. I'm doing my research. So again, self-love, self-care, and then we go into finances.
Another great episode we did with Kay Campio. Yes,
I think we do a lot of great episodes.
They're all great.
Yes. So this is including retirement, investments, insurance, estate planning. So one of the things I noticed when I was going in to get my 401 and things I needed, I kept on telling the person, I want something to put away for my children. And they said, right now, don't worry about your children. Yeah. Because if you're not okay, they're not going to be okay. And they said it a couple times. And I was like, well, no. This is what I want to do. And it was explained very well, saying, hey, you can give to your children when you have everything that you need. If you don't have what you need, where's it going to come from? Yeah. And then I said, oh, yeah, okay, I got it. And I think I was sick to my stomach when I opened one of my CDs, because I had never transferred that money over, but it was wasn't doing anything on my bank account.
Yeah.
And the lady's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, fine." I was like lightheaded. I was like, "Oh man!" But then it felt so good to do that. I didn't have anything. I know that you've been more prepared than I have been. So, and as far as emergency funds, having 3 to 6 months with Kay also mentioned, and a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
It's
It's
scary.
scary, but it really is. I think people, unfortunately, in this kind of society, material society, and showing up on social, having the latest and greatest, and the pretty house and the great car, we're more concerned with that, and that's what the money goes to, than planning for the future. But so with investments and savings, we talked about that with Kay. But one thing you touched on here too, estate planning. One of those you really don't want to even think about, but it really is what happens to your money after you pass. And this is something, if you have children, or if you have any kind of, if you have a house, own a house or own anything, you should have something that says, it's kind of like a will, but just something that states where the money goes if something happens to you. And I remember when we did that when our son was born. So we need to update it, but it just states figure and any future children. Bella wasn't even born yet. And you got to think about things like, who do you want to take care of them if you have small kids? Who do you want to take care of your kids? Which is not something you ever want to think about. You're like, no, nothing's going to happen to us. We'll take care of. But those are the things you need to decide on. And also what you want to happen with your money, who's getting what. Because otherwise a lot of it goes to probate, and it's just going to be also that's when fights can happen in families, when people are not in agreement, and people say, but I think she would have wanted the money to go here. And I think, no, only you can decide. So get it, even though it's a painful process and can feel morbid at times because you don't want to think about it. It's something you need to do, especially if you have children.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that you have gotten down on paper what goes where.
And then talking about what you said about material stuff is in debt. There's so many people living credit card to credit card.
Yeah.
And as we get older, sometimes our income might slow down because you're not,
hopefully you can retire one day and then the income will slow down.
Yes, but as even in their 40s, what they used to do in their 20s, they spent too much money, and you're still paying debt after debt after debt, and the interest rates. I think I shared with you, credit cards are astronomical.
Yeah.
I mean, they're making money off of money you don't even have to begin with because you're charging it.
Yeah.
So it's insane how much money we're paying. So be aware.
Yeah.
With this one, again, this is probably one that we don't really talk about because we don't want to.
Yeah.
It's a caregiving instructions and final wishes and arrangements.
Yes.
That was a lot in one sentence. So let's go back.
What?
Caregiving.
Yes, caregiving. So if something happens to us, or when we get older, or, Alzheimer's disease is unfortunately on the rise a lot.
Yeah.
And when that happens, what do we, not when, if,
drop me off in Fiji.
Hopefully, what do we want? What do we want our caregiving situation to be? Do we want to be in a home? And if we do, I mean, that's something financially we need to plan for as well, because those are not free, and who's going to pay for it?
Yes.
And how do we want caregiving? Who do we want make our medical decisions? And final arrangements if God forbid something happens. And that's something everyone should have printed down somewhere as well. If something happens to you, where would you want your final resting place to be? Do you want your ashes spread? Do you want to be cremated? Do you not want to be cremated?
Yeah.
Those things. What kind of service? If you're, want to go a step further and like, I would like everyone to have a big party when I
want a
die.
big party.
Well, then put that down on paper. I think those
I
things.
said it on the episode. Everybody knows.
Yes, everyone knows now. This is English final wishes.
But I recently had to do that with a family member of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do a POA, POD, which is a paperwork if something happens to them when they die.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really hard.
It is hard. It's not easy stuff. We don't want to think about it, but it needs to get done.
Even though I had to do a medical surrogate, something happens to them while they're in wherever they are, a medical decision, and that's that's something that you unfortunately we have to prepare for. I didn't think of it until I had to do it, and they were like, "No, this is what I want you to do," and I thought to myself, "Oh my gosh, I'm in charge to make sure this happens, the way they want it to happen."
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's important to have a what do you call it?
Living will.
Well, a guardian for your children, but also I can't find the word. Someone who takes care of your estate. Can't find the word. If you know the word, post it in the link below. It's not a conductor of the estate. It's called the executor of the estate. Yes. Thank you. There you go.
What a name, executor.
I think it's executor. Maybe I'm wrong, but someone who is in charge of dealing with all of that.
I haven't done one with my children. That freaks me out.
Yeah, no, and we need to update ours because maybe Bella's name needs to be in it. Oh well.
Okay.
No, and I think we need to look at things now. Of course, one is 18, so probably or over 18. So instead of having guardians, maybe he needs to be in charge of his little sister and decisions made for her, and not someone else.
That's big.
So those are things we need to.
Mine is still
consider.
Young. Yeah. So, okay. This one is give or take. Some might think, "Oh, I don't want to do that because of you want to have a space for someone to come in." But this is downsizing.
Yeah.
We work so hard to get a room. Like for me, it was really important for my children to have their own room. Downsizing would be, I don't have the extra rooms, and I wouldn't have that space, but maybe I want it for my grandkids.
Yeah.
Or when they come home. But how about if they don't come home? They don't want to come home.
Well, and I will say, having done this for my mom,
oh, that's right.
Downsized, and she downsized a lot, it all happened at the perfect time, because after that she had a big car accident where she could not have lived where she lived before. Yeah. But the thing with holding on to, well, first of all, I mean, downsizing can be a new start. It really can be starting over. And I think sometimes we're too attached to, even though, I mean, I work making homes for people for a living. A home is a house. And it's, yes, we have a lot of memories, but sometimes I think we attach too much to the memories. Like, oh, this is where my children grew up. Yes, but if you can't afford it, it's too much work, it's too big, you need to rethink. And of course, it's easier said than done. But one thing we do tend to do when we stay in one place is accumulate a lot of crap. Especially when we now have, so the kids moved out. Now we have 2 extra rooms to just put crap.
Yeah. So that is not what I want you to do.
So when you downsize and really go through what you own, you get rid of a lot of things that you think we need for the future. Like when we cleaned out my mom's attic, it's like my journals and my workbooks from school from 5th grade.
I have some of those.
I was like, who is ever gonna look at that? And she's like, well, I saved it for you. I'm like, no, thank you. I'm good. Instead, what I've done for my kids is I have created a box for each of them for kind of highlights. So I have put in school pictures from all years into that, like, of course, birth certificate, the little outfits they came home from the hospital in. But it all fits nicely. And then if there are any accolades and stuff, it's like a file box. You could put that in there. But so I saved the highlights that I know that, I mean, they might not like all of it, but the highlights it as I see it. I don't have to save all of it. I can save like one drawing or one something important, and then just keep the boxes going. But downsizing, I think, is underestimated how it can really free you from a lot of old baggage.
Yeah, and this also kind of correlates with estate planning too.
Yeah.
So by you downsizing, you by your choice are getting rid of or saving things you want. So then the estate planner doesn't have to go through all that.
And think about it too with your family. Is like, how would you like? And we talked about that with the Swedish death cleaning, which we talked about last year, which is a thing. And if you again go back to old episodes, but it's in Sweden we have something called death cleaning, and it's something we do pretty much around this 50s, 60s maybe, because we want to clean out in case we die. How would we like our stuff to be found? So you don't have a bunch of crap, because then someone is going to have to take care of my crap. Do I want someone to go through all my crap? No, that's horrible. So you clean out and say, okay, now it's prepared for if something happens. At least I'm not putting all that pressure on my loved ones. I should clean.
Victor would be so happy if I cleaned my house like if I was going to die.
It's kind of like thinking of things like, is this really important? If someone has to deal with this, if something happens to me, is that going to be a huge hassle?
Me out. Damn, Ingrid, what this mess for me to do.
Sometimes it's good to be a little morbid and kind of think of it that way. But yeah.
So besides the morbidness that we've just been sharing, now we can go back to social connections.
Oh.
So this is interesting because when I was writing this, my children are so small or young. So they're
not that young anymore. Ingrid is in denial that they're growing up. Okay. Sorry.
They're 12, 13, and 14. So I still have...
She's very soon 15. Yeah. No, she's 14. That's right. She is soon... She's going to start
dying
high school. Never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
We have sports. Schools, gatherings, awards at school. So we talk to a lot of the moms, a lot of, I don't do PTA, but volunteer staff. So we're around a lot as we get older.
Yeah, we're in a lot of social situations because of our children.
Yeah. So as they get older, they get less and less. So it is really, really important as we get older to start our own social connections. Yeah. As far as going out with the ladies or couples or just talking to other people. Yeah.
That's so
a lot of times we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad. And some people are really happy not talking to people, and which is fine. But I believe those are the ones that become grumpy old people.
Yeah. That need to talk to other people. Yeah.
So be very aware of your connections with society as we get older.
That's so true. And with more people working from home or remote working.
I can tell some people work from home.
Yes, unfortunately, yes. But it's so true. It's such a good point because we are, as parents, thrown into so many social connections and situations that we sometimes don't want to. But it is a lot of, if you look at all the groups of people, it's like the volleyball moms, the tennis moms, the this moms, the that moms. And then, noticing with my son in college, you're not invited to anything. Hence it's a different state, but still, it's like, oh, are we gonna meet any of your professors? She's like, oh, okay. Is there any other parents? He's like, I don't know. So no, you don't get invited to things like that anymore.
So with that said, it's really important and you're you are involved still.
I got a lot of groups. Yes.
So
I do have. And when I create my own groups all the time. I am a group person. I like gatherings.
I'm not so much. Like I like.
Thankfully, I'm her best friend, so I drag her to.
Yeah. So if it was my choice, I think I prefer to stay in. Although I do a lot of what I'm going to share with you in just a second, the next one. If I could, I'd rather be home in my flip flops or sandals.
I'm a whole body, but I need to, but it's because I do meet so many people and do so many group activities that I really enjoy the downtime from home.
And again, I also still have younger children, so I am extremely busy. So whenever I do have some downtime, I kind of want to keep it that way. So,
well, I think you feel that way when you've had your bucket filled with having other people. But I mean, again, I'm noticing from my mother, who used to, own boutiques in Sweden and saw people all the time. The same thing with my dad when he retired, even though of course he had my mom. But now when my mom is a widow and lives by herself, and her friends are also older, and it's harder for them to get together, and the loneliness sometimes that's really hard when you get older. So it's so important to create those connections. Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. Oh, next. Travel and leisure. So we talked about travel and how we should be booking a few episodes. I think it was
vacay series.
Yes.
So
just book them.
Like the bucket list of
just
instead of
don't wait. We're thinking of having a travel agent on for you all to listen to, but book them whenever you have a deal, or just book it, even if it's a year, 2 years in advance. Just have them planned out. Have something for you to look forward to. Because again, you get stuck in a rut, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll go next year. No, book the damn thing and look forward to something all the time, even if it's a long weekend or a couple of days. Just do it.
And from my own my husband is not that way. He's like, no, we'll go another year. We can't do it this year. I get tangled in my there we go. And he's always, I don't think we can afford it this year. And of course, I mean, you gotta be able to afford it. But I'm so glad this year that I, on a whim, booked that ski holiday with my two friends, Cindy and Chipo, because it was a little bit of a spur of the moment thing. But I'm so glad we did it, because it was so fun, and it didn't end up costing a fortune. But it was like, we got to do this every year now.
Yeah, no, it makes a difference.
It's important to prioritize, then cut down on something else.
Yes.
I can't remember last time I went to Starbucks, to be honest. I don't do that. I don't buy coffee out anymore.
I treated my children yesterday.
Okay. Yeah.
Starbucks.
I can see that happening in Sweden this summer. We're going to be a lot of coffee houses.
They're like, what happened? I'm like, I just felt
that's nice. Yeah, but if you do it every now and then, but if you do it every day, that adds up. Yeah.
Nope. And unless you have a couple more to add or not, my last but not least is volunteer. Now, I volunteer, and I'm very particular with the ones I volunteer. They're just a lot of heart and time consuming. So I volunteer with veterans and children, which are two near and dear to me. They just, sometimes it's a lot of work. So volunteering allows you to give back to the community. So if it's something that you like to do or enjoyed during your lifetime, it's really nice to give back.
It really
you don't have to do ones that I do like weekly or bi-weekly. You can do once a month, every 6 months, once a year. They have soup kitchens. They have so many opportunities.
And again, it's getting that social connection out there. You meet the people you help, but also other volunteers
that usually on the same boat as you are.
And I volunteer with babies, or not help, but organizations that help babies, but also United Against Poverty, people trying to get back out into the workforce. I do a workshop with them every month, which I really enjoy.
Nice.
Yeah.
To
It's
give
really,
back.
it's great. It's awesome.
It gives into your personal fulfillment.
It's kind of like the mind. It's both for your soul and for your.
Unless you're grumpy, and maybe if you're grumpy, you should
won't
volunteer.
be. Well, maybe you'll be less grumpy if you volunteer.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it gives back in so many ways.
I concur.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that was a good list.
Yay!
Of things we need to get on. So yes, personally, I need to work on. I have no caregiving instructions and no last wishes. I need to work on that. Put that in the estate planning somehow. Otherwise, I am.
Okay.
Might have to start doing some Kegel exercises. Haven't done those since I was pregnant. Yeah.
So I am same thing. Pelvic health, bone density, definitely, because my vitamin D is and
good. Get a weighted vest.
Besides a weighted vest.
That's great.
You know what?
Awesome.
I will keep you up to date because my blood panel comes back this week. So I'll find out where I'm at. But that and traveling. We are going to be traveling this summer. I think we should have a couple trips booked soon.
Fun.
So, but yeah, that was fun.
All right.
Hope you all enjoyed it.
Until next time.
Ta-ta.
Ching ching.
Cheers.
Cheers.